So, you want to see the blue tears in Kinmen? I hope you can, but let me warn you now, you're going to need some luck. The good thing is that we can improve our chances by following some guidelines. That's what this video is about. I've been chasing the blue tears here in Kinmen for over a year. I've gone out dozens of times. And this video is going to be a collection of all of my best advice for seeing the blue tears in Kinmen. So the first thing we need to understand is what are the best conditions to see the blue tears? The best time of year are usually the months April and May. Now you can see them at other times. I've seen them even in the middle of winter. But remember, we're trying to improve our chances here, and the best time is when the weather starts turning warmer. You see, the blue tears are actually in the water all the time, but they usually stay lower down in the water. When the weather turns warm and the water starts moving around, they sometimes rise up to the surface and then they get washed into the shore. So usually it could be anywhere from March to June when the weather starts turning warm. That's the best time. Next, we need to know which beaches to go to. Kinmen, of course, has beaches all around the island, and you could see the blue tears at any of them. But in my experience, the southern bay is one of the best places to look. That or maybe the east coast. There's a Facebook group for following the blue tears in Kinmen. If you haven't joined that, I would go ahead and do that now. People post the blue tears activity there, and there are some useful maps that you can use to find the best locations. My favorites are probably Otsuo Beach, which is where I am right now, or Cheonggong Beach, or Xinghu Yugang. Now I'm going to show you how to get to these beaches during the daytime, but remember, you're going at night, so be careful. It can be hard to find some of these locations. Go slowly, carefully. Some of these roads are only one lane, so be careful for people coming from the opposite direction. Once you get to the beach, make sure you watch your step. If necessary, use a flashlight for your feet. You don't know, at some of these roads they may have ditches on the side of the road, there may be rocks or other obstacles that you need to step over. Watch your step. Now, there are a lot of things we can talk about for the best conditions for the blue tears to appear. I mean, wind direction, tides, how big the waves are, but in my experience, even if you have the best conditions, they just might not show up. So you have to be lucky and patient too. You might need to go throughout the night or watch the Facebook group throughout the night because they might not appear during some hours and then they suddenly might appear later. I will tell you that usually high tide is a better time than low tide. I've tried both and I've seen blue tears at both times, but I think high tide has a better chance. Makes sense, right? I mean, a lot of water is coming in closer to the land. So I usually try to look anywhere from before high tide to after. A couple other things we need to pay attention to are wind and wave size. Now wind, because if it's very windy, which it often is in Kinmen, you may not have as much fun for that matter. But also the wind affects how big the waves will be. Now here's something we need to understand about the blue tears. They release their light when they are agitated, when they're moved around, and they only have a limited amount of light to give. You see, each little blue tear eats some food during the day, which helps them prepare a chemical that they will release as light later in the night. And they only have that amount of energy to release. Once it's out, that blue tear is not going to glow again until probably the next day after they've eaten some more. So if the water is too rough, the blue tears may actually release their light kind of far from the shore and you won't be able to see them as well. The waves need to be small enough so that they only break when they get close to shore. That way we can enjoy the beautiful flashes. If the waves aren't big enough, then maybe the blue tears won't even glow because there's not enough movement to agitate them. And that leads to my next point, which is you've probably seen really brilliant pictures or videos of the blue tears online. Hopefully you've seen some of my videos too. But I want to let you know, cameras can get a better view of the blue tears than our eyes can. So if you're hoping to go see the blue tears just with your naked eye, you might be a little bit surprised. It might not look as bright as you expect. Now, it obviously depends on the camera. For our cell phones, they actually can't see the blue tears as well as we can with our own eyes because the sensor size is too small. But for mirrorless or DSLR cameras, they have a larger sensor, and in some cases they may be able to see it better than we can with our own eyes. Cameras can also take advantage of a long shutter, right? Where they kind of keep the eye of the camera open for longer. And that can help make the image brighter, something that we can't do with our own eyes, right? So just don't be surprised if you go and you find that it's not what you expect when you see it with your own eyes. I would recommend just bring along a camera and have fun trying to take a picture. That can make your experience even more fun. Play around with long exposures. My favorite shutter speeds are 1/10 to 1/15 of a second because I like to see some of the shape of the wave. But you can experiment with longer, like 1 second or a few seconds, and see what results you get. There are only certain times that the blue tears are so strong that they're very bright to your naked eye. I've been lucky enough to see that a couple times so far, where it was really brilliant, but that's the rare case. You have a better chance of seeing the blue tears on a lot of other days. It just may be a little bit less bright than you expect. So one thing I want you to know about that is when you follow the Facebook group, just know that, some of the people who post pictures there are photographers and they can get those results with their camera. But unfortunately, people who go in person to try to see it without a camera, you might not be able to see it. I recommend just try to bring along a camera and you'll get a lot better chance of actually capturing it. And hopefully you'll be lucky enough to see brilliant blue tears with your own eyes. All right, the last couple tips I wanted to share about camera settings and conditions. First, change your white balance. If you don't know what that is, you can take a quick look online on how to change it on your phone or your camera. White balance is basically how yellow or blue your picture is, depending on the time of day. At night, your photos will probably look very yellow or green. So you want to adjust your white balance to somewhere around maybe 27 or 2800. And that way, your photos will come out looking neutral, mostly gray for the surrounding environment. That's good. Okay, the other note about the Facebook group is try not to push people or ask too many times in the group whether the blue tears are going to show up or not. Now, I know that you probably are in Kinmen for a limited time. Maybe you couldn't even control your schedule about when you would come, and you really want to see the blue tears, but the fact of the matter is none of us can really say for sure when the blue tears are going to show up. We can only use our best judgment based on the conditions and then go out and check. So I would go ahead and check the weather yourself. Check for, is it high tide? Is there a lot of wind? Is there a full moon out? And feel free to maybe ask one time or first check to see if anyone else has asked and if there are any replies to that comment. Other than that, unfortunately, if you can't see the blue tears this time, then hopefully you can come again. There will always be another time. Okay, for the next part of this video, I want to share a little bit about safety. Now, I already mentioned be careful coming into these beaches at night because the roads can be difficult and it may not be easy to find where to go, and you must watch your step, right? So here I am at Otsoa Beach, and I want to give you a little tour around to show you what you can do here. First of all, the drive